to me. Welcome to Conversations About Crystals and Healing with Silbey. I'm Becca Reed, and today we're going to talk about a really interesting topic, how to send and receive thoughts with quartz crystals. Welcome, Uma.
Hey, hi, good to be here.
I love this topic.
It's always an interesting topic. Yeah, it sounds pretty woo-woo, but actually sending and receiving thoughts, I think we do this unconsciously all the time.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
And they're not very empowered that way. They're a little weak, you know?
Yeah, and they're random.
Yeah. So this is how to take that natural ability that we have and amplify it and focus it better. And I'll give you some techniques too. And I'll talk about vibrational energy because there's an attunement that happens just with vibrational energy and the vibration of thought. And so they're somewhat related. I want to give a couple of practices that are fun to do.
Oh, well, that is excellent. So I before we get to do you want to do practices first and then explore, or the other way around?
Yeah, well, this will be the first part of this is if you're going to send and receive thoughts, it's done vibrationally, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was thinking there's a vibrational thing we can do to actually attune to someone. And when this practice to send and receive thoughts, the first thing you do is attune yourself to each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have to know ahead of time who you're gonna. You have to kind of make an arrangement. We're gonna send thoughts, and yeah.
This is something to help you do it on maybe a larger scale, or you know that you don't have to make an appointment to practice.
Okay.
You can send thoughts and
all the time,
feelings, right. And you know we all do it sort of less than consciously. So they're kind of, but you know when you're around someone, you can feel their feeling if you concentrate.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
or you go by someone, it's like, ugh, and you just know, oh, you know, so that's picking this up, but on a less than conscious level. So we're going to talk about how to make the conscious, and then it helps with a lot of things. A big one being distance healing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mental, emotional, physical healing. If you can send a thought one pointedly, and it'll go to that person. Hopefully, if they're prepared for it, it will enter more easily.
And there's a lot of documentation that shows it works. It's really powerful. There's lots of documentation to show that this works. Distance healing.
Yeah, it works. It works very well. Also, I mean, the reverse is, say you're around someone and they're sending you a bad thought, like you're horrible or something like that. You know how to not receive that. And you'll know how to differentiate someone else's opinion or thought or feeling from your own.
Well, that's a really good point.
Oh, these are good life skills, if nothing else. And certainly when you work with healing, you need to be able to have this perspective.
Right. So true. Well, where would you like, where do you think is the best place to start this progress?
First thing I'll start, and this is something to do with a partner. So you may have to come back to watch this video again.
Okay. To
this, because if you're sending and receiving thoughts, there are two of you, you know?
Right.
So the first one, energy. I've talked about, we feel energy in our palms. There are healing centers in our palms. There's energetic aura. Mm-hmm. And I believe I've shown you how to feel it, but I will show you again. Mm-hmm. So you take the two of you. First, separately, rub your hands together. Keep rubbing them, rubbing them, rubbing them. I'm going to speed this up a little, but you rub until you feel a heat. Then focus on the heat. And while focusing on the heat, open your hands and blow from your palms to your fingertips lightly. Feel that tickle? Uh-huh. Now take your clear quartz crystal, point it to the middle of the palm of your hand. still feeling that tickle. And see if you can feel, move it around in a little circle. Okay? See if you can feel a little buzz or breeze. Once you can, go bigger on the hand. Make that whole hand buzz. Go out to the fingers, make them buzz to streams of light. See how far you can feel it. You may feel like a buoyancy. Yeah. So after you've done, both of you have done this, your palms should sort of be buzzing. And now feet, you're going to stand up opposite each other, feet firmly on the ground, and rub your hands together again. They should be able to feel really buzzy and hot. And then while focusing on it, place the palms of your hands on the palms of their hands, right on it. And feel the warmth. Same feeling like you felt when you used the crystal. Once you feel a connection, and if you can't feel it, imagine that you can feel it. Pull your hands out a little way, keeping that connection, that sort of mutual buzzing. And see how far apart you can pull and still feel the connection. If you lose it, go back in and feel it. If you lose it entirely, rub your hands and start over it. If you still can't do it, start over with the crystal. Yeah. So the point is now, keep moving far away. We used to do it. I was working with a Peruvian shaman and we played this game. It was fun. There were about 8 or 10 of us. Go back far away from each other, maybe even other sides of the room. And now hold your palms out and see if you can feel their palms. Don't think about it. You may want to move them in and out a little. You'll feel a connection the more you focus on your hands. And then play. Move your hands around and see if you can keep that connection with them. We used to play volleyball, energy volleyball across the room. Send it and receive it. Yeah. So you can practice just sending and receiving. You don't have to do it from across the room. Now, if you are working with stones and crystals, this will really sensitize yourself to the stones. I mean, actually, you can feel stones and crystals. I can from, I don't know, across the room, way far away. But you have to not think about it. Get it. You'll connect. So that's the first practice I want to show you. It's just really fun. Now, if you don't have a partner, you can do it between your palms, feel how far apart, and then send and receive between palms. Do it further apart, maybe 3-4 feet apart even. And it's just intention at that point. You can kind of see, that's a variation. Yeah.
So if you're working on your own, you can still do this just by using your 2 hands against one another instead of your 2 hands against someone else's 2 hands.
You wait and get that connection, move them as far apart as you can, still feeling that connection. And then using intention. Sometimes I just flip my hand just a little, and bend it, cup it to catch now and then, just a little. Mm-hmm. Now you'll notice as soon as you think like, am I doing it right? Am I really doing it? What happen? You'll lose it. Gone.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you got to you don't want to think about this too much. You just want to feel it.
Keep trying. Don't give up. You'll eventually get it. You'll have an moment. Yeah. And then don't say, is this it? Yeah.
Don't be surprised.
We were going to talk about sending and receiving thoughts. So
Yeah,
is
so
this to be
sending I get.
done?
I'm very interested to hear about receiving, but talk about sending first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get this big crystal I have. It's excellent for this work.
Wow,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
it is.
Big, about as big as my head, probably.
Yep, pretty much.
And very clear. So I do this with crystal balls also. When I put on crystal ball workshops, we work on this with the balls, but you can do it with the crystal. Now, because I cannot suspend this in space, what you are doing, you sensitize your hands, like I showed you, which focuses your concentration, and you sit maybe with the table between you, and you put crystal on it, and it should be at least chest high. Throat high is good, eyes, nah, in that area, yeah? Set it on a stand of some sort. Now, with your hands sensitized, both of you put both hands on each side of the crystal. In other words, I have my two hands on this side of the crystal, and opposite side, the person would put their two hands. So you're both feeling this crystal. Now, I'll put this down. Once you're both feeling the crystal, move your hands around its surface. Yeah. You're harmonizing yourself with the stone and with each other. Don't drop your focus. Sometimes you feel the crystal buzz or seem to pulsate, yeah? Once you feel that, then with both hands on the crystal, both of you, put the crystal on the table opposite you. If you picked it up, which you probably shouldn't have, but you can. Now, focus into the crystal. Yeah, both of you. And begin breathing in and out of your heart chakras in the middle of your chest. Imagine that the beam of light from each heart chakra, you and your partners, flow in and out with each breath into the heart chakra of your partner on your out breath, into your heart chakra from them on your in breath. Do this until you feel your hearts connected. Now shift your focus to the crystal. One of you who you've selected earlier will come up with a thought that you want to send to that person. Now focus on the thought one pointedly. Really think that thought. If your mind wanders, bring it back to the thought. Feel how you feel with that thought. How do you feel when you think that thought? Embody that thought in your feelings. Using the energy of your intention, your focused intention from your third eye of your forehead, from your throat, your heart. Send that thought into the crystal, blow out. So that crystal contains your thought. Now the other person, as you do this, you hold the crystal, your hands against it. Feel the crystal and bring all your attention into the crystal. Feelings of your heart, your intention, your third eye, everything's open to receive. Imagine on the in-breath that this thought flows into your mind's eye. Continue breathing in and out, sending and receiving the same thought. Sending, visualize it more carefully, more completely, feel it more. Bring your focus more one-pointedly to the thought. Receiving, open, open, open. No judgment, no expectancies. open to receive the thought. You may see it in your mind's eye as an image. You may feel it in your body. You may see an actual picture in the crystal. You will have a sense of just knowing. And now, pull your attention, both sending and receiving. Pull it out of the crystal. Pull it back to your own center, your own self. And now, while still in the trance state that you are, open your eyes, look at each other. And that person who received the thought, share the thought that they received. It may be wrong, it may be right, it may be right later. The other person affirms it or not. They may not be telling you the truth. For the exercise to work, it's good to be truthful. Now, you may, in your mind's eye, see the exact opposite of what that thought was. Doesn't mean you didn't get it. It's an interpretation issue. So for instance, if you're thinking of a picture of a very tall tree in your mind's eye and sending that thought like, I love tall trees, the other person may see a short tree or a bush, or just green, or just feel tall, but short, it's all related. And the more, then once you've done it, you change. The person who received the thought then sends it, and that other person received, and you go back and forth. Mm-hmm. Now, I used to do this with a fellow. We did it for quite a few months, and he was in, across the, he was a couple states away. And we would call each other every night. Okay, I'm looking in my crystal. I'm looking in my crystal. And we'd send and receive thoughts. And we were pretty accurate. Practice makes perfect, they say, but you can get pretty accurate,
I can see how the interpretation, it's because just like semantics, it's just words mean different things to different people too. So you could be in the ballpark with some kind of vegetation, but it's just a matter of how you interpreted the thought. So close is good. Yeah.
And it's important when you're receiving thoughts, don't try to do anything with it. Just notice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, you will become open to thoughts. So it wouldn't be unusual to be walking around downtown and catch a thought from someone, or go into a gathering of people group or something and pick up thoughts that, it happens. Yeah. There are ways to shield your mind and all of this. I kind of let them come and go, I don't attach meaning to it unless I need to.
So if you work with a friend or a partner to do this, can you send thoughts without a pre-arranged time? Can you just send a thought?
And you could. Yeah. And you don't, after a while, the crystal amplifies this process. So after a while, you don't need to use the crystal. You can just hold your palms to each other, like I showed you at the beginning, and send and receive thoughts like that too. It's your connection that allows it to happen. I mean, how many times does it happen? You get a husband and wife that have been together forever, or a partnership, and you know what each other are thinking. You finish each other's thoughts and sentences.
Yeah. Yeah. That nice connection. A nice open channel. Yeah. Well, that is really interesting.
And when I'm doing my healing work with the crystals, if I working healing in a certain area, I always ask their thoughts. If this injury had a thought, what it would be. And I pay attention to my thoughts. So maybe someone was roller skating and ran into a wall and, broke their nose. So I would sit with that, I'd work on that because it's pretty inflamed, and maybe it threw their jaw off in their neck. And so I'd work on all of that. And I'd say, well, if this nose had a voice, what would it be? And they, I'd get them more and more in an altered state so they don't judge what they're about to say. And then it wouldn't be unusual to say, it didn't want to go skating anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that is an
Yeah.
interesting technique, and there's a lot of science behind that. Thoughts and feelings get lodged in your body, and they turn into other things. But you can ask your body if there's a message for you in that feeling. If you have a feeling, you can ask, well, what's if this pain had a message, what would it be? And sometimes you get good information that way.
And, you know, thoughts and feelings are intimately related. So we'll talk about that connection more, but
Yeah.
do that for this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. I love the idea of sending and receiving thoughts. And as you practice this, what is this a good basis for moving on to another step? Is there something where you could take these skills and then use them in healing in another way?
Well, I mentioned it earlier that, you know, about injury often having a voice and showing you the reason for the injury. When I'm working with my crystals and stones with someone, I'm picking up on the thought forms that underlie these. And it maybe there's not, you know, there's a lot of them. We have a whole body that's a mental body. It's, you know, we have the emotional body, you know, the mental body, physical body. So these thoughts form an entire body and they interweave. And, you know, so I notice, you know, and I may even, when I'm working with someone, I talk with them a lot. You know, here's what I'm hearing, you know. How long have you felt this sorrowful here? How long has this muscle been really tight? And it seems to me it just is really protecting this feeling. So it's a series of noticing, but I'm picking up thoughts and I'm picking up feelings. But you know, and the other idea is realize when people are sending you thoughts, positive or negative, and being able to decide if you want to receive them or not. You know, if you're being negatively judged, you probably don't want to receive them. So close that openness. Now, openness is not necessarily, oh, I want to hear someone's telling me I'm terrible. The openness may be a secret childhood wounding in which you feel that you really are insufficient in some way, lacking. So then you have an openness to that form of negative judgment. So see, when you can pick up thoughts, you can work with them as long as you decide you're not going to react and you're not going to take it personally and you're not, you know.
Yeah.
Then you can work with them.
So the exercise of feeling the energy and feeling it from further and further away, it seems like good practice for any kind of energy work that you could imagine. You could build up your sensitivity and your power and learn to direct that energy where you want it to go.
Yeah. And opening the healing power of your palms. I mean, I can send energy just focusing on it.
Yeah.
I send energy a lot like that, you know, or scoop.
Yeah.
And that's focus. But when you're working with thought on that level, it's in a way it's beyond thought because you don't react to it, you don't judge it, you just grok it. You know.
Yeah, it's information.
It's information.
Kind of, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, it's very handy not to be able to realize when the thoughts that you're picking up are not yours, they're not coming from you. In terms of negative judgment, particularly, you know, it's more a reflection of the person they're coming from. And there's a way that when that thought's coming, you can sort of wall yourself off, you know, shield your heart so you don't,
How can you, when you're beginning and you're starting to feel energy and receive thoughts, how do you know? Is there a way to know, or is there a way to prepare to know when the thought is not yours, when it is from outside? Or is there a quality to that thought that would let you know?
Well, you can get very confused at first, you know. Sometimes it boils down to when I was first learning, like, would I really have a thought like that?
Mm.
You know, that's so not me. That's so not my life. That's so not my experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I recommend, and this I do sometimes when I'm doing healing work, depending on the type of healing I'm working with, but everybody can do this. Wear a crystal over your heart chakra, a pendant, a 24-inch usually does it if it's a man or a bigger person, sometimes 27, 26, you know, measure it. You can put it on a black satin cord too, you know, then you can change it. But that, you envision that crystal on your heart chakra provides a gentle but efficient shield to thought, unwanted thought, and boom, bounces right off, especially negativity. I have been known to program it that you can, it's permeable, so you can receive positivity and it'll reject negativity. Yeah.
I like that. That sounds
And
very
in
handy.
the process, you need to learn to have some control over your own thoughts. Notice your thoughts. You know, meditation I do with the crystal ball, it works real well, is you tune into the ball, you go into it, and you just notice your thoughts. The crystal ball will help you stay focused because the mind tends to wander, or a thought will carry you. You know, the sky's blue. Oh, I love blue sky. Oh, I wonder what I can do tomorrow. You know, you're off. So the crystal ball keeps bringing you back. And if you find you wandered, you know, don't castigate yourself. Just bring your attention back to the thoughts.
Yeah, that's the practice part of meditation.
Practice. And that makes you very aware of your own thought patterns, your own reactions. What are your thoughts that you tend to have? Because we very often have repetitive thought patterns.
Yes, they say something crazy like 96% of the thoughts you think every day are the same.
I would believe that. Yeah, they're probably.
Yeah, so you have to change something to change.
Yeah. And, you know, if you have certain negative thoughts coming all the time, you know, usually negative self-evaluations of one form or another, I always say, thank you for sharing. You know, I noted. I don't try to hold it away, you know, and I sort of remain, have a curious openness. But I also know that thought is a thought. I mean, they go on and on. I don't decide to have that thought unless I'm doing, you know, actual, you know, guided thought. But you notice that thought world.
Yeah, and that's
and
when
you begin to know that you are separate from these thoughts. Who is noticing the thoughts? That's a good one to do at the same time, to ask yourself that question.
Yeah, being able to notice, and some people call the inner critic.
Yeah, well, usually that's strong in people. We all have an inner critic.
Yeah.
But
And
we always have to ask, who is this I that I'm criticizing?
Yeah, exactly.
And who is the one criticizing? And who is the one who's aware of the one criticizing? That'll shut you up pretty quickly. No more negative thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm being facetious, but actually it's true.
Well, no, the whole point of meditation is to become the watcher and to watch what you're thinking. And that's when you know, when you're watching what you're thinking, then all the other stuff starts happening.
Who is watching the one watching? Who's, you know,
who's noticed
at some point your mind just gives up because but I think the most exciting first step, and then all the other steps come, but is noticing the first time you're noticing that you are thinking something. You're noticing what you're thinking is a huge step. You can get there. And goes.
That's a good, there's like something that happens in your mind when you realize, hey, I'm thinking this thing.
And there's times when I'm doing my work with the crystals, and when I used to do a lot of psychology counseling work. I had an office and stuff, but there are repetitive thought patterns that you really don't want to have.
Yeah.
So then you have to know how to notice the thought pattern, you know, and deconstruct it. You know, I am worthless. How are you worthless? Well, this, and this. Can you remember another time when you felt that way? Yeah, and Can you remember an early? You keep going earlier and you will get to a core incident that you made that judgment. And when you get there, and it's the crystals will help you focus and give you the strength. It takes nerve strength to stay focused. But when you come to that original event, notice that you made a decision. I'm terrible. I'm insufficient. No one will love me. You know, there's certain key ones we all tend to do. And then notice, take a look at that incident and look at it more clearly, you know. Notice your decision, but reframe that incident. For instance, my mom was really pissed off because I broke a lamp and said she never loved me ever. So I figured I was unlovable, right? So you go look at that incident and you really focus on the mother, and you notice she's just exhausted. She's a single mom. It was more than she could take. And she said that. She didn't really mean it. And she was less than skilled in her reaction. And what did that lamp mean to her anyway, you know? And then you notice that why she said it, but is that really who you are? But you feel that you have to be willing to feel the pain that you were covering up by that decision. You know, it's a skillful way of working. I'm writing an emotional healing book, and I go into this in detail because emotional healing is in layers.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to become aware of thought patterns to do this work. And if you do this exercise I showed you, you can become aware of thought patterns. Yeah. And if you don't have a partner, then the best exercise would be to focus on your thoughts. Watch them come, watch them go. Just notice. Don't do anything with it. Just aha. If your mind wanders, bring it back. It's pretty standard meditation, but if you do it with a crystal or crystal ball, it's easier. It'll help you focus.
Can you share a meditation for this?
Focusing?
Yes. Yeah. And noticing, I think.
Noticing. Yeah. Let's just notice our thoughts. I wouldn't go back to core childhood woundedness unless I was physically.
Well, yeah.
wounded.
No.
No.
Yeah. Just, how to
Sure.
it's just a great meditation to just notice your thoughts.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything with them.
We'll do that. So if you have two clear crystals, hold them in your hands with the points pointing, the tips pointing up your arms, toward your arms. And then sit yourself on a chair. Yeah. Back straight. Head straight ahead. And hold your hands in your lap with the crystal still in your hands. Your feet should be flat upon the floor. And focus on your breathing. Feel it flowing in and out through the tip of your nose. In, out. Fill your lungs, release your lungs. If your mind wanders, bring it back to your breath. And when you feel totally focused on your breath, bring your attention to the middle of your forehead. Relax. Relax your head, your jaw, the back of your neck. Relax your eyes, your scalp, and focus in the middle of your forehead. And now, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, I'm not thinking? Watch that thought. Just notice your thoughts, how they arise, and go. Don't catch hold of your thoughts, just notice them. Notice they arrive spontaneously, they leave spontaneously. Sometimes a thought will birth a second thought, and a third thought, and a fourth thought in a long row of thoughts. So long, the first thought is gone, though they're related. Notice what you're thinking now. What thought are you thinking? Watch the thoughts spontaneously arise and go. Just notice the thoughts. Who is noticing the thoughts? The same who, out of which spontaneously these thoughts arise and disappear. A field of consciousness. Arise and disappear. Thoughts come, thoughts go. Even if you now are thinking, I'm not having thoughts, or what thought, or I don't like that thought. You have a judgment about the thought, any judgment, even I like that thought. Let it go. Just notice the thoughts. And continue doing this until you feel like you've had enough. 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 11 minutes. You can do this as a regular practice just during your daily life. Just shift your focus to your thoughts. If you're having disturbing thoughts anytime, just notice who is having the thoughts and watch your judgments, and then just let it come, let it go. Yeah. So when you feel ready, open your eyes and put your crystals down, shake your hands, stomp your feet, take a couple big breaths, blow them out. Yeah. Sometimes people try so hard to focus, you feel like your forehead's pulling in, or your head feels tight, or you get a headache, then you're trying too hard. Then take a breath, relax, do some breathing, go swimming, be outside, and then come back to it later. Yeah. But you'll never harm yourself with this exercise, by the way. You may not like the thoughts, but that's a judgment. So then you just let that judgment go and bring your mind back to the thought. Chances are you'll have another thought. And if you have recurring thoughts, you notice there's a space between them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Return to the space between.
Return to the space between. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really great meditation, because it just sort of builds up your ability to focus on nothing. And when you notice, the quicker you notice your thinking, the quicker you can get back to.
Yeah. And it builds a certain resilience too. You're not just the effect of what anyone's thought should be about you or your own thought.
Yeah.
Like you have more of a curiosity than like, oh, it's going to kill me, have this thought. You have a curiosity, which tends to remove the painful aspects of some thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's to know to just be curious about what your thoughts will be. Yeah.
And they're not your thoughts. That's why I ended the meditation that way. Yeah,
they're just thoughts.
That takes it to another level. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to think about too. That's like,
or no think about.
Or no think. Yeah. Who's thinking these no thoughts?
Yeah, right. On that note.
Well, thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
before we go, where can people find out more about you?
Well, my website, umasilbey.com. That's UMAS like Sam, ILB like boy, EY.com. I have all sorts of information. I go through writing spurts where you'll suddenly see a whole bunch of articles and then there'll be a bit of a dry spell, but they're still on there. And I have stones and, music,
And
books.
books and music.
Yeah, all of that. And
Yeah.
certainly on the internet, you'll find all sorts of stuff about me, including these videos, which please subscribe, because when you do, you'll hear about more. You'll be notified. And we love for you to comment, I really like that one, or could you talk more about this, or I didn't understand this, or, those are good things. We love them.
Yeah, sure. If you have questions, be sure to ask them. Yeah, because that's very helpful. It's good guidance. Well, thank you so much for another great conversation.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.